Welcome everybody to the channel, the group of Portal Spirits Rising. I am Ed Brissett, and I am here to talk about the Elks Club in Keeseville, New York. We are 1 week away from going back for our third time to investigate the Elks Club. But since the last time, it was almost a year ago, since there's been a lot of things that's happened, a lot of information I've actually found out. So we're gonna get right into the. I guess there's the rumor of the Elks Club was when the Elks Club before it was established, there was two girls that and their sisters that had to be exhumed and they were moved away. Again, there's different stories on that before the Elks Club could be established. However, from what I found out, that is not the case or true as far as there was two. We do know that there was one. So the first time that we did the investigation, we got a lot of things. We did communicate with a little girl. We thought we'd get the two little girls, but we only got the one little girl to communicate with us. And then we had the evil spirit, which I found out who that was. And we found out information on how the little girl may have died. So there's stories to that as well. And we're going to talk about a little bit of the history before the Elks Club. So I went and I found out a bunch of information on the family who lived there, actually who even had it to begin with, and all the deeds of who owned it since it first was owned. So hold on, because there is a story here, and you be the judge. I have all the information here, and then all the information that I'm going to give to you when we did our first investigation, and then the second investigation when they had the medium go there. She found out stuff that we actually found out. It didn't match up in the stories that we've heard, so I was weird. So now that I got the information, now that I know that what we did actually now is more correct from what I found, it's making it more believable that we actually were talking to the little girl and the evil spirit who was the father. Now I actually have all the names now as well. So I'm going to get into this. I have some video. I'm going to read off some stuff. I have some video just so you guys can watch while I describe the history before the Elks and then when the Elks actually was established. And the story is basically of the family that lived there before. And again, you be the judge of, what happened. So I'm going to play this little video here as I'm talking, and then I'll get more into come back and get more involved in it. So here we go. So the Elks Club, well, the house that was the Elks Club was actually established in the late 1700s by a guy named John McCumber, Sr. Then the property was transferred to his son John Jr. in 1802, and then in 1828 it got transferred to somebody else in the family. It was John. That was John's son, which was J. Nelson McCumber. He was born in 1804. He died in 1881. And then in 1880, Nelson transferred the property to his daughter Emily. And Emily owned the property for quite a long time. And then Emily, she had a family there as well. A bunch of daughters and sons, had 6 altogether. And then Emily sold it out of the family to a woman named Helen Crum Finch. And then she got married, so her actual last name was Kaysen. And we're going to be talking about Helen, because that was where this whole story of the past here of the Elks is based on. So Helen actually had a bunch of children, and she had Gertrude, who died in 1921. We're going to get into all of that. I have all the things. There's some questions about everything on how the children died. So there was one daughter who died at the house, but she was 14 years old when she died. So there was only the one daughter. There's everybody else lived except, and this is the question. This is a very big, still to this day, a mystery of their 6-year-old, her brother, basically, which was 6 years old, who actually went missing and never was found. So basically from 1912, Helen is the one that owned the property. So then we're going to get into the history of Helen here. Said Helen Finch is now buried in the Evergreen Cemetery in Keeseville, New York. Again, Helen bought the house from the McCumber in 1912. Helen got married to a guy named Rutgers. Now, this is going to be, that name is very important as well. Rutgers Stagg Kaysen Sr. They got married in 1904. At the time, they lived in Glens Falls, near Warren, New York. In 1907, their daughter Gertrude Kaysen was born. And then they moved to the house in 1912. And then 1913, they had another daughter named Jeer. That's the end of that video there. I got some pictures here, so you can follow along with me with some of the. Just follow along. Actually, we'll do this while I'm. Yeah, we're gonna get into the. So these are some people from the Elks Club that was established. I'm going to show you some stuff now. I'll get back to the story here in a minute. This is just all things from when the Elks Club was established. All these articles and stuff like that. This is pretty cool from 1956, 57, and 58. All different articles when the Elks Club in Plattsburgh was established. I know a lot of people, when we did a first investigation at 94 Court Street in Plattsburgh, New York, there's a guy named Benjamin Franklin Feinberg. And a lot of people thought that he also started the Elks Club in Keeseville, New York, but that was not the case. It was actually his son. His son name was Robert, but they call him Bob. So both of them had the B in the front. So they had B Feinberg, so they thought it was actually Benjamin, but it was actually his son. Which is still kind of weird and cool how the very first investigation we did had B. Feinberg, and then the second investigation we did, his son actually was involved. So it's kind of weird on how that happened. So let's get back to the story here of Helen here again. So, you know what? I'm going to bring up we'll get back to these here in a minute. I'm going to show you her, that's the Feinberg one. Okay, so right here. So this is basically the whole history of Helen and her family when she got married, each of her kids. So you can see right here the whole history of her basically in that house. And it gets a little weird here. So again, you can follow along. You can actually see most of it right there. I'll get to the other page here. Where was I here? So she had another daughter named Jeer that she was born in 1916. Their son Rutgers Kaysen Jr. was born in 1917. And then their son Finch Kaysen was born, where in the heck was he born? Oh, he was born in 1916 as Rutgers Kaysen Jr. was born. And then at this time, things were not going so well with Helen and her husband. Rutgers was, at the time, was angry. He was drunk all the time. He committed adultery in 1921. So Helen got a separation from Rutgers. And then 6 months later, their daughter Gertrude passed away. So this is where it gets interesting, where there was a daughter who was actually there, buried there. But there was only one daughter. There wasn't two. And then things really get interesting after that. And again, that death was in question of how it happened. So she was buried right there on the property. A month later, the Helen took her kids to Florida to get away from Rutgers, and That was in January of 1922. The divorce went through on April 3rd of 1922. Helen and her kids came back home May 15th of 1922. A short time after that, after they got home, their son Ruckers Jr. went missing. And the rumors was that Ruckers Sr. was upset with the divorce and took the son, and the son was never found, and they just pronounced Ruckers Jr. dead. And in 1923, Helen had met a lady, and actually her new partner, named Lindsay Skull. Because she spelled it Schell. Is that one on here? You can see the death. Obviously, Ruckers. You can see the death on here too. The separation. When the divorce went through, returned to Florida. Death of again. He don't know how he went missing. So they just pronounced him dead. Arrival and married. Let me see. Is that the next one? Yes, that's the next one. So this is the rest of it here. Let's see, where are we here? So, Lindsay Shaw. They got married in 1924. Helen did not want anything to do with her ex-husband's last name. Didn't want anything to do with him. So she ended up taking Lindsay's last name. And not just that, but also all the kids also took her last name. So her last name was Skull. And Ruckers Sr. died in 1933. And it seems that Helen thought that her ex-husband, Ruckers, had something to do with, both of the daughter, Gertrude, and the son, Ruckers Jr.'s deaths. So in 1950, actually, new evidence came about, and the actual state police actually started investigating it, and that was actually Troop B, actually around that area. Nothing obviously became of it because Ruckers was already dead. So this brings up the question of the two little girls that were buried at the house and to be exhumed. We do know there was one. Now, unless I don't think it was. I don't think it was their little brother, because they never found them supposedly. And obviously, if they would have exhumed, exhumed the bodies, I'm sure they would have found Ruckers Jr. I would believe. I am not really sure. So that would have been, 1950, was that 1958 when the Elks Club, very before the Elks Club was established here. I can go back here. I can see 1958. This one will show 1950 September. Yeah, September 11th is actually when. September 15th when it actually opened of 1958. So 1958, supposedly that's when they were exhumed and moved. But so we do know of one girl that was there, that was buried there, and she was 14 years old. And the question of her death again was in question. I don't know why she was even buried there. Of course, she was exhumed. And where did I see that? Where did I put that? Did I put that on here? Okay, yeah, she was exhumed, and then she was sent to Cambridge, Massachusetts. So that was the only one that we know of that was actually buried right there at the property where the Elks Club is now. The question still remains is of the little boy that went missing, never was found. So the question would be, if there was two that were exhumed there, it possibly could have been, but I don't know. That's something we're going to have to get into. I can't get into the historic place yet because it doesn't open up until, I think, April 1st, so I can actually really get into get more details of it because I want to find out because I think you still had to a deed or something was be a burial right there. So I'm gonna find that out and see. Even if I don't know. You you take that for what it's worth. So again, we're gonna go back next week to find out whether or not hopefully get more answers. Because if we can actually get something like we did the first time, it makes more sense now of what we got the first time with what I found out. Because we were only contacting the one girl. She said it wasn't an accident. The medium went there, said that it wasn't an accident either. So that's what I thought. So she said the same thing. Now again, she didn't know anything that we did the first time when we did the investigation. I didn't want her just to go in to see whether or not we get the same information. She said she got hit across the head. The story was that she fell off the back deck and broke her neck. That's how she died. But again, obviously, if there was new evidence that came about, even obviously the police were in question of both their deaths, then maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe it was, she thought that she got hit across the head. That's how she ended up kind of breaking her neck and dying that way. So my whole thing is that we're gonna go there and see what other information we can get. I would love to see if we get information on where the little boy is. I really like to know. I mean, obviously that was 1950, and they're still investigating what happened to the little boy. And that's another thing I want to try to find. Obviously, there's nothing else that came about, but I can try to go see whether or not there was any other information after that, if anything was brought up years after, so we don't know. So that's the story on all of it. Again, so Helen had a bunch of kids, but she only... Actually, I have it on here. Yeah, so she had Gertrude was actually her mother's Helen's mother's name too. So it's kind of cool how she named her daughter that. But it kind of sucks that she died at 14. So we're gonna see if we can go there and see if we can contact her as well. So we're gonna try to see if we can get Gertrude and see if she can say her name and see, because she was playing with us. She was playing with the cat balls, the REM pod. But what there was an evil spirit. It was her dad. We know it was her dad, which is Rutgers. So he was not happy that we're there, and he made that perfectly clear if you watch that first one. And I think that's what was happening was he was keeping his daughter from trying to talk to us. But this time we're going to make sure that we actually get her to talk to us, and we're going to make sure that he will not stop her from talking with us if she can give us any information. Again, boy, it would be great if we can actually contact Rutgers Jr. and kind of cool if we get some information on that and find out where he is. Again, so she had a bunch of kids, and Gertrude is the only one that actually died in the house. Jeer was another daughter, but she died in 1971. Again, Rutgers Jr. died in 1922. He's only 6 years old and went missing in 1922. They had another, Rolf was another brother they had, was born in 1917, and he died in 2005. So, the rest of them lived for quite a while. So those two, Gertrude and Rutgers Jr., were the only ones that died early enough before the Elks Club. So I'm hoping to get some more information and more kind of clear up some of this stuff. I'm really excited about it. I got some new equipment, and I also have something that there's no other paranormal investigation team or person has used. I've searched and no one's used this yet. So I'm excited to use it, and hopefully it helps. It's supposed to help with the energy from the earth to the house. And I'm pretty much using my own body to give out extra energy to the spirits so they can actually and this is the other part I liked about the first investigation to the second investigation. You watch the first investigation, you can see all of our equipment that was going off when we're asking questions. We had names that were coming out, numbers of spirits that were there, which we found out the second time when she went there. That was correct. So, but the second time we went there, the medium did her thing for about 45 minutes, and she said that, the spirits could not use her energy. And then when we did our investigation afterwards, we got absolutely nothing. So this is why it made me more of a believer, because some people could say that, the equipment can just go off whenever it wants to. Cat balls can go off. The REM pod can go off. K2 can go off. Nothing went off the whole time that we're there. So you can't, you cannot say the spirits were exhausted from trying to speak with the medium. And so now when we go back, let's hope we get something this time, and because this will make it more believable for me as well, as far as us being able to communicate with spirits and see what information we can get out of this. So that's all I have for now. Again, it's 1 week away that we go to the Elks Club in Keeseville, New York. The week after that, stay tuned. That following Friday, we have one in Morrisonville, New York, which was an old nursing home. And then a week or 2 weeks after that, April 6th, we go to the Wheeler Mansion in Orange, Massachusetts. I'm excited about that because we're going to be the actual first paranormal team to be able to stay there. They opening up April 1st for their bed and breakfast. So I'm excited for that. So I'm using these two investigations to really get ready for that one. And then the Shanley Hotel, I'm sure a lot of people, you've heard about that one. We are going there July 16th to do an investigation there. So that's going to be cool. We will be going to the Conjuring House. I know you know that one. We don't know if we're going to go this year or wait until, I don't know. We're determining on when to do that one, but we are going to go to the Conjuring House as well. So that's all the information, news I have for now. Stay tuned next week when we'll be at the Elks Club, and hopefully we get something. So that is it. Thank you for joining Portal Spirits Rising. And if you can, please go to our YouTube channel page as well. We have a Facebook group. So if you can like that, we do have quite a few people that have joined that. If you could, though, just go to our YouTube channel and just subscribe. We're trying to get our YouTube channel up as well, up and running. Again, we've been doing investigations for a while, but I just started the last 4 or 5 months of getting a YouTube channel, because now that we know that we can actually do this paranormal investigation stuff and know that we can actually talk to spirits, we're really getting into it now. So we could really use some help on getting some subscribers and followers. So that is it. I am Ed Brissett. Until next time, keep your spirits high. Peace out.